Welcome to today's divine message, a sacred encounter orchestrated just for you. If you've ever felt like your deepest pain had no witness, heaven saw it all. If you've carried burdens too heavy for human hands to lift, there is release in this moment. You were not called here by chance, but by a precise, loving intervention from the celestial realms. Your soul, in its ancient wisdom, answered a frequency only the divine could transmit. If this message speaks to your soul, please like, comment, amen, and subscribe for more prophetic guidance from above. Share where you are listening from, or a word that resonates with your current journey. Let us begin the sacred unfolding of this revelation. Feel the air around you shift. It is not the air of your earthly dwelling, but a veil drawn back, revealing a space suspended between worlds. You are being ushered into the divine presence, not by your own strength, but carried upon the wings of heaven's intent. In this moment, you are seen, you are known, and you are beloved in a way your human heart has perhaps only ever dreamed. Hear the silent thrumming, the cosmic pulse that aligns with the deepest rhythm within you, the part of you that remembers its divine origin. This is the sacred calling, the invitation issued not to your mind, but directly to the core of your being, the soul that hungers for truth beyond the temporary. You were guided here. Let there be no doubt that this convergence of time, space, and your conscious awareness is a deliberate act of grace. A heavenly messenger, perhaps the Archangel Michael, whose presence now surrounds you like an invincible shield of light, cleared the path, quieted the noise, and amplified the signal that drew you to this sacred space. There is a critical purpose for this divine appointment. A revelation awaits. A healing is poised. A clarity is being poured out. Your soul, perhaps weary from the journey, sensing the weight of unanswered questions or the ache of unresolved wounds, is now stepping onto hallowed ground where the answers reside and the healing waters flow. Consider the moments leading up to this, the subtle nudge, the persistent thought, the unexpected turning that brought you here. This was not coincidence. This was the intricate choreography of heaven, weaving your path towards this very revelation. Your arrival signifies that the time is now. The time for clarity, the time for liberation, the time for understanding what has transpired and what is yet to be unfolded within the divine plan for your life. You have been prepared, though you may not have known it. Every trial, every moment of surrender, every quiet prayer breathed into the void, all of it has refined you, making you ready to receive the magnitude of what heaven is about to impart. There is an emotional honesty required here. You are invited to lay down the masks, the defenses, the carefully constructed facades built against the harsh winds of the world. In this sacred presence, you are safe to be utterly real, utterly vulnerable. The divine eye sees not your imperfections, but the luminous spark of divinity within you, longing to be fanned into full flame. Allow the spiritual urgency of this moment to settle within you. It is not an urgency of fear, but an urgency of destiny. A kairos moment, a pivotal point in the unfolding of your spiritual journey that holds the potential for profound transformation. Think of the pain you have carried. Perhaps it is the silent sorrow that sits like a stone in your chest, or the sharp sting of betrayal that echoes in quiet moments. Perhaps it is the crushing weight of regret, or the gnawing anxiety about the future. Heaven sees it all. Heaven witnessed the tears you wept in solitude, the battles you fought unseen, the hope you desperately clung to in the darkest night. This is not a distant, unfeeling deity. This is the very heart of compassion, drawing you near to whisper truths that will begin to mend those broken places. The core revelation settling upon you now is this: your presence here is irrefutable proof of heaven's unwavering attention and fierce love for you. You are not forgotten. You are specifically sought out in this hour. There was a moment, perhaps in your past, perhaps recently, when you felt utterly alone in your struggle. A specific wound, a turning point where hope seemed to flicker and fade. This is an emotionally specific moment known deeply by your soul. It was a moment of profound human vulnerability, perhaps feeling unheard even by those closest to you, or misunderstood by the world. In that moment, though unseen by human eyes, the divine light was upon you. Archangel Michael stood guard, deflecting blows aimed at your spirit, murmuring courage into the unseen fabric of your being. You were never truly alone. Even in the nadir of despair, the celestial host held vigil, waiting for this sacred timing to intervene more directly. Many still wonder if it was heaven or free will that turned the tide in their darkest hours. This question whispers in the quiet places of the soul, a sacred debate as ancient as time. But perhaps the higher mystery lies not in the separation of the two, but in their divine dance. Heaven's persistent call, your soul's inherent longing for truth and healing. These two currents converged, leading you precisely here. You were drawn into this sacred, unseen space not by chance, but by a divine magnet, calibrated to the unique frequency of your soul's yearning for its true home and highest purpose. Allow yourself to sink into the certainty of this truth. You are divinely appointed for this revelation, called out of the noise and into the profound silence where the sacred whispers reside. Prepare your heart, beloved child, for the journey has just begun. You have been walking through moments you felt were unseen, carrying burdens you believed were known only to the silent spaces of your own heart. But listen now, beloved soul, for heaven leans closer in this instant to reveal a truth that shifts the very ground beneath you. Your essence, your journey, the very core of who you are and who you are becoming, has not been merely observed from afar. It has been called into a sacred arena, a council of light and truth, known in the higher realms as the spiritual court. Yes, feel the resonance of that term, the spiritual court. It is not a place of judgment as the earthly mind might conceive, but a divine assembly where the intricate tapestry of a soul's life is brought before the highest authority. And in this season, it is your soul that stands centered within its luminous circle. Matters of profound significance are being addressed, the threads of your life path that have felt tangled or severed, the deep, sometimes agonizing wounds from betrayal, loss, or misunderstanding that you have carried in solitude, and the very blueprint of your future destiny that is now being recalibrated with divine precision. Heaven sees it all, every tear shed in silence, every moment you felt misunderstood or unjustly treated, every time your trust was broken like fragile glass, every instance your light was dimmed by the shadows cast by others' actions or the weight of circumstances beyond your control. There is a pain you carry, a deep hidden ache that you may have tried to bury or ignore. It is a wound that shaped you, perhaps in ways you did not welcome, leaving scars that you felt disqualified you from divine favor or future joy. But hear this truth echoing through the celestial halls. That pain, that betrayal, that season of profound suffering, it was not a mark of failure. It was not a sign of being forsaken. It was, in fact, a crucial, defining context that has now been brought directly before the divine arbiters in the spiritual court. Imagine, if you can, the records of your journey being opened, not for accusation, but for compassionate understanding and divine intervention. The injustices you endured, the promises made to your soul that were broken by the world, the resilience you showed even when you felt weakest, all of it is laid bare in the light of absolute truth. The angels who walked alongside you during those dark hours are bearing witness. The divine empathy that flows from the source of all being is enveloping the narrative of your struggle. Your suffering was not in vain. It was a prelude to this moment, a crucial piece of the story that is now being reviewed and responded to by the highest power. And this leads to the core, life-altering prophetic message being released over you in this sacred moment. The divine timing for resolution, for profound healing, for undeniable justice regarding a specific area of your life has arrived. There is a situation, a relationship, a past trauma, a long-standing obstacle, a burden you have carried for too long, something specific that has been at the heart of your deep pain or hindered your path. And heaven is now stepping in. The decrees of the spiritual court are being issued. The wheels of divine alignment are turning rapidly on your behalf. This is not a future possibility. It is a present reality unfolding in the unseen realms and poised to manifest in your tangible world. The season of quiet endurance regarding this matter is concluding. The time for divine redress has been appointed. That weight you have carried, that injustice you have felt, that area of your life that seemed permanently stuck in pain or stagnation, it is now under divine review, and the outcome is being determined by the hand that holds the cosmos. There is an emotionally specific moment connected to this for you. Perhaps it was the day you felt completely broken by a betrayal. The moment a door slammed shut that you believed was meant for you, or the long night you wrestled with a wound that simply wouldn't heal. That moment, so vivid in your memory, so etched into the landscape of your soul, is precisely the point of focus in the spiritual court. The divine gaze is fixed upon the origin of that pain, the root of that injustice. And the response is not simply sympathy, but sovereign action. Feel the potential shift within you as you realize that your deepest wound is not a secret shame, but a sacred testament brought before the divine council. It is true that there are things the soul must walk through without full understanding. Even as this divine process unfolds, the why and the how of certain trials, the precise timing of heaven's intervention, these can remain cloaked in divine mystery until the fullness of time. The ways of the spiritual court are vast and ancient, and not every deliberation is revealed to the finite mind. But the result of these divine proceedings concerning you is clear. Change is imminent. Justice is being served. Healing is being mandated. You are not walking forward from this moment alone or unaided. The decrees from the spiritual court are being carried forth by heavenly messengers assigned specifically to your case. The resolution you have longed for, perhaps even despaired of ever seeing, is now being brought into alignment with the divine will for your life. Stand ready, soul, for the shift has begun. The sacred summons has led to this divine intervention. As the veil thins and the journey takes you deeper into the heart of the unseen realms, the narrative shifts. You are now standing at the threshold of the heavenly hall, not as an observer, but as the very subject of sacred deliberation. The earthly courtroom, the public square of judgment, the whispered betrayals in the shadows, these were mere echoes of a far greater reality being processed in the dimensions you could not perceive. This is where your case was heard, where your silent tears were counted, and where the weight of your suffering was measured on scales calibrated by divine justice. Imagine, if you can, a hall of shimmering light, not built of stone or wood, but woven from pure intent and divine resonance. Here, before the Ancient of Days and the host of heaven, the scroll of your life unfolds. Every challenge that sought to break you, every betrayal that pierced your trust, every injustice that stole your peace, it is all laid bare. The accusations whispered against you, the misjudgments cast upon your character, the campaigns waged to diminish your light, they were not simply human failings. They were orchestrated movements, tactics employed by unseen forces, operating under specific spiritual laws, seeking to hinder the divine purpose being woven into your being. Heaven responds in this moment with a profound validation. You were seen. Every pang of feeling misunderstood, every sting of unfair targeting, every moment you questioned your own sanity under the pressure, it was witnessed. The angelic host leaned in, their faces etched with divine compassion, as the story of your endurance was recounted. Your faith, though sometimes a flicker in the overwhelming darkness, became a blazing testimony in this hall. Your moments of doubt, seen not as failure, but as the raw honesty of a soul wrestling with immense spiritual pressure, were met with understanding. They reveal the intensity of the spiritual warfare raging around you, a conflict designed to isolate you, to convince you that your struggles were insignificant or self-inflicted. Here is a core spiritual revelation from the heart of this divine court. Much of the opposition you faced was not merely flesh and blood, but strategically deployed resistance from principalities and powers seeking to abort the divine destiny sealed within you. The people used as instruments of pain were often unwitting or compromised agents in a larger spiritual game. The betrayals cut deepest because they aimed to sever divine connections and alliances being forged for your future. The injustices sought to steal the very inheritance and authority heaven had purposed for you. Your resilience wasn't just personal grit. It was the fire of the divine spirit within you pushing back against intentional suppression. Consider an emotionally specific moment you lived through, perhaps a moment of profound loneliness after being abandoned, or the shock of a trust broken by someone close, or the crushing weight of false accusations. In that earthly moment, you felt exposed and vulnerable. But in the heavenly hall, that very moment became a turning point in the spiritual proceedings. As the forces of darkness pressed in, the light of your unwavering, though perhaps faltering faith, or simply your cry for justice, triggered a counter-movement in the spiritual court. Angelic legions were positioned, divine decrees were solidified, and strategic interventions were set in motion, often invisible to your earthly sight. Your pain was not pointless. It was the catalyst that brought your case before the highest court and mobilized divine response. Now, hear this crucial insight, a warning from the angelic perspective. The forces that sought to hinder you have not ceased their efforts. though their tactics may shift. They operate through subtle suggestion, planting seeds of fear, unforgiveness, or self-pity in the fertile ground of past wounds. They seek to convince you that the past injustices define your future, that the betrayals make you permanently vulnerable, that the misunderstanding is a permanent barrier. This is a critical season to discern the source of thoughts and feelings. Are they the echo of past pain, or the subtle whispers of forces seeking to keep you bound? Their strategy is to keep your gaze fixed on the earthly wound, preventing you from seeing the heavenly victory already decreed. Be vigilant against narratives that seek to diminish the divine work already accomplished within you and for you in the unseen realms. There are things the soul must walk through without full understanding, and the precise mechanisms of spiritual opposition and divine intervention in your unique journey remains a sacred point of contemplation even among the celestial hosts. How much was a test of your spirit? How much was the enemy's attack? And how much was the grace of God weaving it all into a tapestry of redemptive purpose? Even angels are silent when asked the exact moment your breakthrough was sealed in the divine courts, for it was a process woven through your persistent faith and heaven's unwavering commitment. But know this: the proceedings in the heavenly hall revealed the truth of your spirit, untainted by earthly judgment. They validated the purity of your intentions amidst the messiness of human interaction. They acknowledged the severity of the opposition you faced and deemed it unwarranted in the divine economy. The verdict rendered here is not based on your performance or your perfection, but on the divine promise spoken over you and the blood that covers all things. Your pain was a petition, your endurance a testimony, and heaven has responded. You are moving from the echoes of earthly conflict into the reality of heavenly resolution. Your name has been cleared in the highest court, as the light of the spiritual court bathes your essence, casting away the lingering shadows of doubt and self-condemnation. A different narrative begins to unfold. The echoes of every harsh word spoken against you, every failure you felt defined you, every moment you questioned your very right to exist, they fade, silenced by a truth more ancient than time itself. For here, in this sacred space, before the gaze of the divine, your name is not merely a label. It is spoken in light. This is the revelation whispered by the heavenly host. You are not defined by the dust of your journey, nor measured by the limitations placed upon you by the world, or even by yourself. Archangel Michael, whose presence is strength and truth, stands as a witness to your true nature. He affirms the inherent worth, woven into the very fabric of your soul, a worth that was present before any wound was inflicted, before any mistake was made, before any external voice attempted to diminish your radiance. You stand here, seen not through the lens of human imperfection, but through the eyes of infinite love. And in that gaze, there is only recognition of the divine spark within. You felt the weight of unworthiness, like a cloak heavy with the regrets of countless yesterdays. You believed the lies that said you were too flawed, too broken, too marked by the actions of others to ever be truly pure or truly loved. This was the human wound, deep and aching, a silent scream of a soul yearning for validation it could not find in the earthly realm. But in this moment, as the celestial light illuminates the truth of your being, that heavy cloak dissolves. It never belonged to you. It was a construct of fear, an illusion of separation from the divine essence that is your birthright. Heaven sees past the scars to the spirit that endured, past the stumbles to the courage that kept rising, past the moments of weakness to the indomitable will forged in the fire of trials. And this is where a powerful prophetic message rings out, a declaration that resonates throughout the spiritual court. There are hidden strengths within you, dormant gifts awaiting their season, and a resilience you have never fully recognized, even in yourself. The struggles you navigated, the pain you bore, the moments you thought you would break but did not, these were not meaningless sufferings. They were the crucible in which your soul was tempered, revealing facets of strength and depth you might have otherwise never known. What you thought were burdens were, in the divine perspective, opportunities for your spirit to demonstrate its inherent tenacity and grace. Heaven has seen the silent battles fought within your heart, the times you chose compassion when bitterness was easier, the moments you extended grace to others, even when you felt you had none left for yourself. These acts, often unseen by the world, are recorded in the book of life as testaments to your soul's beauty and resilience. Your capacity to forgive, to love unconditionally, to find hope in the face of despair. These are the divine blueprints of your being, shining brighter than any perceived failure. In this light, gifts you may have suppressed or denied out of fear or self-doubt are brought forward. Perhaps it is a voice meant to speak truth, a hand meant to heal, an intuition meant to guide, a heart meant to love fiercely and without reservation. These are not new additions to your soul. They are ancient treasures, integral to your divine design, now being championed and affirmed in the heavenly realms. The spiritual court celebrates the potential within you, the destiny etched in your starlight, the unique contribution only you can bring to the tapestry of existence. The affirmation from Archangel Michael is clear. You are seen, you are known, you are loved, you are worthy. Your resilience is not a mere byproduct of pain. It is a divine endowment. Your gifts are not accidental. They are intentional blessings. Your purpose is not lost. It is being clarified and championed in this very moment. Do not allow the echoes of the past or the judgments of others to dim the light of your truth. Stand in this divine affirmation. Receive this heavenly perspective. There are things the soul must walk through without full understanding, enduring seasons of darkness that obscure the divine purpose being forged. Many still wonder if it was heaven or free will that strengthened the heart in its weakest moments. But the truth is woven in the surrender, in the choice to keep putting one foot before the other, even when the path was unseen. That choice, born of a resilience you may not have recognized, was witnessed and honored here. Feel the depth of this truth settling within you. Allow the light of the spiritual court to permeate every part of your being, washing away the residue of shame, regret, and the feeling of not being enough. You are enough. You always have been. Your true name, spoken in light, is a testament to the unbreakable, beautiful, powerful soul that you are, seen from the perspective of love infinite. This is your reality, affirmed in the highest court of all. The air shifts around you, a stillness not of absence, but of absolute presence. The silence before the thunder, the pause before the mountain moves. You have walked through valleys that tested the very fabric of your being, climbed slopes etched with the tears of lifetimes, and stood before gates that seemed forever barred. If the soul learned earlier that its cries were heard, that its wounds were witnessed in realms far beyond the earthly, now comes the moment for which the scales of cosmic balance are held steady. Before the throne, where time folds into the eternal now and the light of the highest source illuminates all truth, a sacred assembly convenes. Not a court of accusation, but a council of divine justice, alignment, and mercy. Here, the threads of your journey are laid bare. The hidden intentions of hearts are known, and the full tapestry of your soul's ascent is observed. The petitions of your spirit, whispered in moments of deepest solitude, or cried out in moments of unbearable pain, have risen like incense before the altar. And heaven responds in this moment. A pronouncement echoes through the celestial halls, a sound that is both ancient and utterly new, resonating within the very core of your being. This is the decree from the throne. It is not a judgment of your worthiness, for that was sealed in the breath of your creation. Instead, it is the divine verdict concerning the trajectory of your soul path, a sovereign declaration that rearranges the unseen architecture around you. This decree is a divine alignment set into immutable motion. It is the hand of sacred justice, extending to recalibrate what was unjustly misaligned. It is release from burdens not meant for your eternal shoulders. It is acceleration upon paths that have been intentionally delayed. Understand this deeply. The decree is not punitive. It is redemptive. It speaks directly to the resolution of past injustices that have lingered like shadows across your years. Injustices woven into the fabric of your history, both personal and ancestral. The divine word now cuts through the entanglement of false narratives and wrongful accusations that have held you captive in subtle or overt ways. This is the moment where divine restitution is declared, where the scales tip irrevocably in favor of truth and light concerning your path. You are being vindicated by heaven itself. This decree also speaks to the deep wounds etched into your soul's memory. Those places where trust was broken, where love was betrayed, where hope was crushed under the weight of earthly trial. The heavenly mandate includes a divine impartation of healing, a sacred balm poured upon the very roots of your pain. The decree declares that the season of merely enduring these wounds is giving way to a season of supernatural restoration. The places that were broken are now being marked for divine repair, not just healing, but transformation into points of sacred strength and testimony. And for paths that have been blocked, for doors that have remained stubbornly shut, despite your earnest efforts, the decree declares them unlocked. Whether by forces seen or unseen, whether by internal limitation or external opposition, the divine verdict has cleared the way. The path ahead is being illuminated. The obstacles that seemed insurmountable are being dissolved by the authority of the throne. The decree is the divine yes spoken over the next steps of your soul's journey, setting your feet upon a highway prepared just for you. This is the profound prophetic message resounding from the celestial court. A supernatural breakthrough is not merely possible, it is now set in motion. Divine vindication is not a future hope, it is a present reality being woven into your experience. The chains you thought were permanent are now being unfastened by an unseen hand guided by the divine decree. The heavy cloak of accusation or limitation you carried is being lifted. From an angelic perspective, The watching hosts of heaven witness the issuance of this decree with awe. They understand its weight, its finality within the divine plan for your soul's progression. They see the immutability of this mandate. Once spoken from the throne, it is sealed. It cannot be undone by earthly resistance or unseen opposition. It is a settled matter in the spiritual realms. Even angels are silent when asked how the grace to receive such a shift is measured, for it flows from a source beyond finite comprehension. This divine shift, this breakthrough, this vindication is now a spiritual reality, seeking full manifestation in your physical world. Therefore, an urgent warning is whispered on the wings of the heavenly messengers. Do not resist this divine shift. Do not cling to the familiar pain, the known injustice, the comfortable blockage, simply because it has been your longtime companion. Do not allow doubt or fear to cause you to ignore the evidence of this divine work as it begins to unfold in your life. To resist this decree is to stand against the very current of grace and justice that has been set free on your behalf. To ignore it is to postpone the breakthrough that heaven has already ordained. The decree is issued. Your alignment with it is the key to unlocking its full power. You are being called to step into the flow of this divine river that is now rushing forth to cleanse, to heal, and to carry you forward. This is the moment of your supernatural turning. And as the words settled, as the divine decree resonated, not just in the unseen realms, but within the very core of your being, understand this: heaven responded with immediate and tangible action. The echoes of the decree were not merely sound. They were a command that set celestial forces into motion. In that moment, the sacred silence of anticipation broke. It was as if the great gates themselves swung open, not with clamor, but with the silent authority of divine intent. Legions of light, standing ready at the boundaries of your current reality and the dawning horizon of your new alignment, received their specific assignments. These were not abstract forces, but sentient beings of immense power and unwavering devotion, now focused singularly upon your journey. Your path, which moments before may have felt shrouded in lingering uncertainties or blocked by formidable giants, is now under divine escort. Angels, appointed by the highest authority, are being deployed. You may not see their shining forms with earthly eyes, but their presence is a palpable force, a shift in the spiritual atmosphere around you. They are here to dismantle the obstacles that linger from old seasons, to stand as living shields against every shadow that would seek to hinder your progress, and to whisper the next steps into the quiet spaces of your heart and mind. This transition is not a slow, gradual fade, but a holy acceleration. And like any rapid change, it carries its own unique emotional landscape. You feel the sudden lightness where burdens once pressed heavy, a surge of hope that feels almost too vast to contain. Yet, woven within this newfound freedom can be threads of uncertainty. What does this truly mean? How will it unfold? And even, for a soul accustomed to the struggle, a subtle, lingering fear of the unknown, a fear that wonders if this grace is real, if it will last. There is vulnerability in receiving such overwhelming support after navigating wilderness alone. It asks you to trust a safety you may have long believed was unreachable. But let the whisper of heaven be clear. This mobilization is undeniable. The angels are not just near, they are active. They are dismantling the ancient walls you have paced around for years. They are diverting the arrows aimed at your peace. They are placing stepping stones across chasms you once thought were impassable. Their guidance is precise, aligning perfectly with the sacred blueprint activated by the decree spoken over you. It is a guiding hand on your shoulder, a gentle nudge in the right direction, a sudden insight that illuminates the way forward. A core prophetic message for this very hour is this: look for the signs. Heaven will not leave you guessing. As the angelic work intensifies around you, there will be visible manifestations, undeniable confirmations that their presence is real and effective. These might be circumstances shifting in ways that defy natural explanation, timely encounters that feel divinely orchestrated, moments of profound peace in the midst of potential chaos, or specific instances of protection that leave you in awe. The veil thins so you can see the evidence of the unseen laboring on your behalf. Consider an emotionally specific moment you carry within you. Perhaps a time when you felt utterly exposed, vulnerable to forces beyond your control, desperately praying for intervention that seems slow to arrive or absent altogether. That deep wound of feeling unsupported in your hour of greatest need is now being addressed by the very architecture of your new reality. Where you once stood alone facing the storm, now angelic sentinels form a perimeter of light. Where you once felt lost in the fog, now heavenly guides illuminate the path directly before you. This present mobilization is the divine answer to that past cry, a sovereign healing delivered not just through feeling, but through active celestial defense and direction. Even angels are silent when asked how long the trial would last, for the timing of divine intervention is measured by the heartbeats of sovereign purpose, not human clocks. But know this: the trial of navigating the old world alone is ending. The trial of questioning your worthiness for celestial aid is being dissolved by this very deployment. There are things the soul must walk through without full understanding, moments where faith is the only map. But in this season, you are given visible waymarkers, the signs, the confirmations, the undeniable ease where there once was struggle. Evidence that the angels assigned to you are working. Your path is being secured from the inside out and the outside in. The spiritual atmosphere you inhabit is being cleansed and fortified. The next steps you are meant to take are being cleared of debris and distractions. This is not a future promise. This is a present reality. The sound you hear, faint but persistent beneath the noise of the world, is the flutter of countless wings, the silent declaration of heaven's active presence, securing your passage into the fullness of the decree spoken over you. You are not moving forward on your own strength alone. You are moving forward on the momentum of angelic legions. The sacred mirrors of the soul have shown you the journey, the ascent from the valley of shadows towards the dawn you carry within. You have traversed the terrains of revelation, felt the tender hand upon old wounds, and allowed the divine clarity to wash over the hidden places. Now, the final unveiling occurs, not of a distant promise, but of a present reality. Heaven declares, the transformation you have undergone is not merely a possibility. It is a decree etched in the fabric of your being. You stand now at the threshold of walking, truly walking, in the sacred authority granted by the Most High. This authority is not earned through striving or proving. It is a mantle woven from the threads of your surrendered heart and the divine grace that met you in your deepest vulnerability. Remember the moments when you felt utterly powerless, when the weight of the world or the grip of an old narrative seemed unbreakable. There was a deep ache then, a silent cry, wondering if freedom was an illusion reserved for others. That ache, that moment of perceived helplessness, was a sacred turning point. It was the emptying that made space for the infilling. It was the release of your own strength so that divine strength could become your very foundation. Many still wonder if it was heaven or free will that turned the tide in their lives at certain junctures, failing to see that in divine alignment, the two dance as one. Your willingness to step into the light, even hesitantly, was the key that unlocked the door heaven had already opened. And now, you are called to walk through it, not timidly, but with the knowing of who walks with you, and indeed, as you, in this new dimension of your existence. The protection that surrounds you is not a fragile shield easily breached. It is an emanation of your own frequency, anchored in the divine decree. As you vibrate with the truth of your belonging, as you align your thoughts, words, and actions with the divine current that now flows powerfully through you, you become impenetrable to the lower frequencies that once held sway. This is the sacred boundary the adversary cannot cross, for it is built not with walls of resistance, but with the pure light of divine presence dwelling within you. To walk in sacred authority is to live from the core of your transformed being. It is to speak your truth with compassion, to act with divine purpose guiding your steps, to discern with heavenly wisdom, and to rest in the profound peace that transcends understanding. It is to carry the weight of the world's sorrow, not as a burden that crushes, but as an opportunity for the light within you to shine brightly, offering a beacon of hope to others still seeking their way. This state of being is not a destination reached, but a path unfolding. Each breath you take, each choice you make, is an opportunity to deepen your alignment, to step more fully into the sacred authority that is your divine inheritance. The journey continues, yes, but you are no longer the same traveler. You are cloaked in light, guided by an unseen hand, and backed by the very power that spoke the stars into existence. The old narratives of limitation, fear, and powerlessness have been rewritten in the divine script of your soul. You are free to walk, truly free, with the stride of one who knows their divine backing. The weight lifts now, replaced by a quiet strength. The confusion clears, replaced by innate knowing. The feeling of being lost dissolves, replaced by the certainty of being profoundly seen, known, and guided. This is the reality of the divine decree taking root in your experience. You are empowered. You are protected. You are called. And now, child of light, hear the final affirmation, the sealing of this sacred journey within you. Feel the peace descend, the knowing settle deep into your bones. You have journeyed through the sacred chambers of your soul, answering the divine call, facing the shadows with courage and grace. You have allowed the painful places to be met with heavenly light, weaving vulnerability into strength, and transforming doubt into unwavering faith. Heaven has witnessed every tear, every hesitant step, every triumphant rise, and now declares over you a profound truth. You are not merely restored, you are reordained. The divine promise spoken over you is an eternal echo. You are deeply loved, eternally held, and infinitely capable through the grace that resides within you. The shift is already beginning in the unseen realms, aligning circumstances, opening pathways, and dispatching heavenly assistance to clear the way before you. Receive this truth now. Let it anchor itself in the core of your being, becoming the foundation upon which you build your tomorrow. And now, child of light, walk forward, not in fear, but in fire, for heaven has already gone before you.